I remember that day as if it happened only yesterday, the day we met. I was 16, just stepping into my senior year. "Class, we have a new student joining us today," Mrs. Howard announced, though her words barely cut through the hum of chatter filling the room. Laughter and whispers bounced off the walls. Everyone caught up in the thrill of a new school year. Everyone except me. I sat in my usual spot at the back, alone, detached. Senior year didn't feel any different from the years before. Just another cycle in this endless hellhole called school. No friends. No memories worth keeping. I was drifting, half alive, through my teenage years. "Guys, please, this is Mel. She be joining us." Mrs. Howard tried again, her voice a little more desperate this time. That's when I finally looked up. And there she was, the girl who would soon turn my whole world upside down. Her hair was short and brown. Her skin was pale, soft like moonlight, and her brown eyes shimmered with the faintest trace of tears. Nervous. That's what she was. Nervous and fragile, standing in a room that suddenly belonged to her. The chatter died down. And why wouldn't they be? She was beautiful, too beautiful. The kind of girl who belonged with the popular crowd, destined for the center of attention. Smiles greeted her from every corner of the room, already pulling her toward the giggle squad. I scoffed to myself. Another pick-me girl, I thought. Just another one of them. Our eyes met for a brief second, and I instantly wondered if I'd scoffed too loudly. She didn't seem bothered though. She walked straight toward me with a smile. "Is this seat taken?" she asked softly. I shook my head, avoiding her gaze. Without hesitation, she slid into the empty seat beside me. For the rest of the class, I could feel her eyes on me. Subtle glances that made me uncomfortably aware of her presence. When the lunch bell rang, I escaped to my usual sanctuary, the rooftop. It was my quiet corner, hidden away from the chaos of the cafeteria. But to my surprise, she was already there, sitting in my spot. I froze, ready to turn back, but her voice stopped me. "There's room for more," she said with a little smile. "I'll be quiet, I promise." I exhaled sharply, reluctant, but sat down anyway. "This is a cool spot," she said after a moment. "You promised to be quiet," I shot back, my tone sharper than I intended. "Just trying to ease the tension," she replied, still smiling. "There's no tension here," I muttered. "If you say so," she teased softly. "I'm Mel, by the way. What's your name?" I stood abruptly, ready to leave before the conversation could go any further. But as I turned, she grabbed my wrist to stop me. The motion pulled me off balance, and before I could react, I stumbled forward, landing on top of her. For a heartbeat, everything went still. Our lips brushed, light and electric. The next day at school, I tried everything to avoid her. But no matter where I turned, she was there at the lockers, in the cafeteria, even at the edge of the courtyard. I couldn't shake the feeling she was doing it on purpose. She could have been friends with anyone in school, so why me? Why was she so interested in me? I was heading down the hallway when I heard someone call out, "Claire!" It was her voice. For the first time, she'd said my name. I froze, then turned to see her jogging toward me, her smile as bright as ever. "We should walk home together after school," she said, a little out of breath. "There's something cool I want to show you." I should have said no. I should have walked away. But the truth was, I wanted her attention maybe more than I wanted to admit. So, against all my better judgment, I nodded. We walked in silence, and soon we reached the little, tucked-away bookstore on the edge of the campus. The door creaked open, and she led me inside. The place was abandoned, but it had a certain charm, books piled up, a cozy corner with an old armchair. Mel's eyes sparkled as she pushed aside a crooked shelf and whispered, almost proudly, "I found this place on my first day here. This will be our little hideout, just ours." away from the rest of the world. I raised a brow. I already have a hideout. She chuckled. The rooftop doesn't really count. It's not exactly a secret, you know. People just avoid it because they're afraid of falling. She spread her arms toward the dusty shelves and broken furniture around us. Her playful grin made me laugh quietly, and I caught myself smiling without meaning to. "You should smile more," she said warmly. "It suits you." Heat rushed to my cheeks and I quickly turned away, reaching for a dusty old book on the shelf. But before I could grab it, her hand brushed against mine. She didn't move it away. Instead, she looked straight at me, smiling softly, and then rather than taking the book, she held onto my hand. "Do you know what I find most interesting about you?" she asked. "No, I don't, but I wish you'd tell me." I thought frantically. "What?" I managed to say. "Your eyes," she whispered. "They always look so sad, so alone, but at the same time, they tell a story. The story of a girl who just wants to be seen and loved." I blinked, unsure how to respond. "What does that even mean?" "It means," she said simply, "that you have really pretty eyes." Her words made my heart skip. Then, with a sudden seriousness in her voice, she added, "You caught my attention the very moment I walked into the classroom. I want to know all of you. I want to be part of your life. Honestly," she paused, then smiled again, "I'm obsessed with you. So I've decided I'm going to be your one and only friend in this entire school." Over the next few weeks, Mel kept her promise. She was always there beside me in class, waiting for me at the gates, even following me into places I usually went alone. "You really don't do much, do you?" she teased one afternoon as we sat in the courtyard. I shrugged. "I don't really have any interests." "Well, lucky for you," she grinned, grabbing my hand. "I do. Come on." Before I knew it, she was dragging me to the arcade after school, or pulling me along when she decided. Skipping class was a better idea than sitting through another boring lecture. Most times, she whisked me off to our dusty little hideout, where she sprawled across the floor, telling me ridiculous stories while I just listened. And though I rarely admitted it out loud, every moment with her made me feel alive, like school was finally worth waking up for. One evening, as we sat cross-legged on the old carpet in our secret spot, she suddenly tilted her head and asked, "Hey, have you ever kissed anyone before?" I froze. "No." "Why?" Her lips curled into a mischievous smile. "Do you want me to be your first?" My heart practically stopped. "But what?" She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm serious." Before I could think, her lips brushed against mine. Soft, warm, like time had stopped just for us. My chest fluttered, and for a second, I thought I was floating. When she pulled back, she was smiling that same playful smile. "See? Not so scary." I touched my lips, still in shock. "That felt heavenly?" she teased, winking. I didn't answer, but my silence said enough. And yet, confusion lingered. Because as magical as that moment was, I couldn't ignore the way she laughed with the boys in our class, or how she sometimes leaned a little too close when talking to them. Was she hinting at something with me? Or was it all just another one of Mel's games? A week after our kiss, I was heading down to the cafeteria when I heard a group of girls giggling behind me. At first, I ignored it, just girls being girls. But then, one of them said loud enough for the whole hallway to hear, "Can you believe her first kiss was with her best friend?" She snickered. Another voice chimed in, mocking, "What's the matter? Are you in love with Mel?" They burst into laughter. "Poor thing. Mel's just being Mel. And you actually fell for it." Their words cut deep. My chest tightened as I realized people around us were whispering, some pointing, others laughing outright. My heart sank. How could she? How could she tell them? I couldn't take it. I bolted, rushing out of the building, not stopping until I was home. The next day, Mel found me by my locker. "Hey," she started softly. I didn't let her finish. My voice was sharp, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Don't even try talking to me." Her eyes widened. "Wait, what happened? What happened?" I snapped. "You happened. You told everyone, didn't you? You turned me into a joke." Her mouth opened, but I cut her off before she could speak. "You were never my friend. Not once. You were just a pest that latched onto me, annoying me every second of the day. And now?" I glared at her, ignoring the crowd that had gathered. "Now I don't have to pretend anymore. I'm glad we're done." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Mel just stood there, frozen, her lips parted but no words coming out. And for the first time since I met her, I walked away without her following me. Days turned into weeks, and before I could process it, Mel was gone. Rumor was her parents had been promoted and moved to another city. I cried every night before bed, every morning before school. Life returned to what it had been: lonely, grey, but this time the emptiness hurt more. The only ray of sunshine I'd ever known had vanished. And the worst part, the last thing I told her was that she'd never been my friend, that she had been more than a friend. 10 years passed. I had landed a job at a big press company, excited and nervous for my first day. The elevator doors slid open, and there she was, Mel Grayson, the only girl I had ever loved, standing right in front of me. "Claire?" Her voice was just as full of life as I remembered. Before I could react, she rushed forward and wrapped her arms around me. I hugged her back tightly, terrified that if I let go, she'd disappear again. It felt unreal, like a dream I never wanted to wake from. Later that afternoon, we sat across from each other at a cafe, 2 steaming cups between us. We shared pieces of our lives from the past decade. I didn't have much to offer. My days had felt like a dull cycle, but I didn't care. She was here. That was enough. At one point, I couldn't hold it in any longer. "I missed you," I blurted. Her smile faltered, and I felt my throat tighten. "Why did you leave me, Mel?" My voice cracked as tears welled up. "I was going to forgive you the next day. I didn't care that the whole school found out about the kiss. I just wanted you by my side." She lowered her gaze, fingers tracing the rim of her cup. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I left because I was scared of my own feelings." I froze. "Feelings?" She nodded. "I liked you, Claire, more than a friend should. And I was terrified that if you ever found out, you'd hate me." Her eyes glistened as she went on. "Remember Ken, the classmate I always hung out with? He was the only person I told about my feelings for you. And when we kissed at the bookstore, I bragged to him, told him maybe you might feel the same." She let out a shaky breath. "But he had a crush on me too. So he spread it around, twisting it into gossip." I covered my mouth, my heart pounding. "When I saw your reaction," she continued, her voice breaking, "I thought it was proof you didn't feel the same way. So I begged my parents to let us move again. I couldn't stay and pretend to be just your friend, not when I wanted. So much more." Her words hung between us, raw and trembling, cutting through 10 years of silence. Her words hit me like thunder, shaking everything I thought I knew about the past. For a long moment, I just sat there, staring at her across the cafe table. "You liked me?" I whispered. She looked up, her eyes shimmering. "I still do." The breath caught in my throat. "Mel." She reached across the table, hesitating, then gently took my hand in hers. The warmth was the same, even after 10 years. "I never stopped, Claire. Not once. That's why it hurt so much I couldn't bear to stay and watch you hate me." I squeezed her hand tightly, tears rolling down my cheeks. I never hated you. God, Mel, I loved you. I still love you. Do you know how many nights I cried, thinking I'd pushed you away forever? Her lips parted in surprise. You loved me? I still do, I said firmly, the words tumbling out like they'd been trapped inside me for years. You were never just a friend. You were everything, my only happiness. And I ruined it by saying the cruelest words I didn't mean. Mel's chair scraped back suddenly, and before I could react, she was kneeling beside me, wrapping her arms around me. I buried my face into her shoulder, sobbing as she held me like she never wanted to let go. I'm so sorry, she whispered into my hair, for leaving, for not fighting harder, for making you believe you weren't wanted. I'm sorry too, I choked out, for hurting you, for not telling you the truth when I had the chance. She pulled back just enough to look at me, her forehead brushing against mine. So what now? She asked softly, her smile trembling with hope. Do we start over? I nodded, my tears breaking into a laugh. Not start over. Pick up where we left off. Her gaze lingered on me, filled with the same spark I remembered from our hideout days. Slowly, she leaned in, and this time, when her lips touched mine, it wasn't stolen or secret, it was a promise. The cafe around us faded, the years of pain dissolving in that single kiss. 10 years of silence finally replaced by the one truth that had always been there. We were never just friends. We were each other's forever. I kissed her back desperately, clutching her shirt as though letting go would mean losing her all over again. She pulled me closer, her hands cupping my face, thumbs brushing away the tears still streaming down. Her lips moved against mine with aching familiarity, soft yet insistent, like she was pouring every apology, every memory, every unsaid word into that kiss. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathless, our foreheads resting together, eyes half closed. She laughed softly, her voice shaking. God, I almost forgot how perfect this feels. I smiled through my tears, my chest aching but light at the same time. Don't forget again, I whispered. Her thumb brushed my cheek gently, and she leaned in once more, sealing her promise with another kiss slower, sweeter, full of the love we could finally stop running from. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Not the years apart, not the pain or misunderstandings. Just us, two girls who had loved each other all along, finally finding our way back home. For years, I carried her face with me like a secret I couldn't let go of. Every city my family moved to, every new school, every party I smiled through, I thought of Claire. I wondered if she hated me, if she had forgotten me, if she remembered the kiss the way I did, soft and clumsy. Yet the most perfect moment of my life, when I saw her again that morning in the elevator, it felt like my heart had stopped. 10 years melted away in an instant. She looked older, sharper around the edges. But her eyes, those same eyes I fell for on the very first day sad, searching, beautiful, hadn't changed at all. I told myself not to get carried away, not to hope. But the second she hugged me back, holding on as if she was afraid to let go, I knew. One knew I had been hers all along. The cafe that afternoon changed everything. Hearing her say she missed me, that she wanted me by her side, it broke something inside me, but it also healed me. I confessed everything, even the parts that made me ashamed. And when she cried and told me she had loved me too, I realized the universe had given me a second chance. Now, when I wake up in the morning and see her curled against me, hair messy and lips soft with sleep, I can't believe she's real, that she's mine again. Sometimes she teases me about being obsessed with her, like I said when we were teenagers. But it's true. I am obsessed with the way she laughs now without holding back, with the way her hand always finds mine when we walk through crowded streets, with The way she finally smiles like she knows she's loved. 10 years ago, I was too scared to believe we could be more than friends. Too scared of losing her. But losing her was exactly what I did. Not this time. Not ever again. Because Claire isn't just my first love. She's my forever.
用一生去祷告，让岁月爬上每